What's up, y'all? Welcome to your monthly Earth Tribe report. This is the Peace Dealer. Your shout out to Taurus, shout out to Virgo, shout out to Capricorn. You already know what time it is. Yeah, we did the fire yesterday, and we're gonna look into the Earth. Unlike fire, which is more activated by social or air houses, communication houses. Air activates Earth's money house. It's definitely career oriented, finance oriented, lifestyle oriented. Okay, so we're going to talk about the ideation, the idea, the enlightenment, and how if you're Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, that affects you, or rather you play out its language in a sign of communication. And you guessed it, language, linguistics, lingua franca. By the way, check out my new Magic Moon message if you haven't. All right, let's get it. Yep. All right. So first, we're gonna start with Taurus. Shout out Taurus Rising. Shout out Taurus Sun, Moon, Progressed, Natal, especially the Progressed Risings and the Natal Risings. Shout out to the natural kings and queens. So let's recap. Why is this very significant for you? One, this is second stage activation. Two, last year we had one of the most important conjunction cycles all in yo ish. Okay, if we literally go back a week before that date, we had this quadruple conjunction, and I will always reference this for Leo. We'll reference it for the 10th house, but especially for you, Taurus, because this represented a very significant and important activation of your embodiment, of your personality. And I would like Taurus Suns and Risings to check in. How have you experienced this since May? Because in your rising, on your sun, not only did Venus update her yearly polishing of your sign, you know what I mean? If you don't polish something, after a while, it starts to collect dust. We clean it up. You know what I'm saying? We update our beauty. It takes into account how much we've grown and how this influences our sensibilities, reflects sensibilities. So then we have Uranus, yo ass, and Jupiter, which now innovated the expansion and expanded the innovation of the value of you, of your embodiment of value, of the genius you express, innovating platforms with which, as an independent creator, as an independent producer, you take your own value and through Gemini, manifest the value of it through communicating it. We call this, since Gemini is a true perspective, and the second house to Taurus, or the second house is value, we call this true value. This is what makes Gemini the affinity of Taurus and Scorpio. Unlike Sagittarius, which is the affinity of Aquarius and Leo, Gemini is the affinity of Taurus and Scorpio. Why? Well, Taurus rules the second house. Scorpio rules the 8th house. What is Scorpio's 8th house? Well, it's also Taurus's second house, Gemini. And shout out Taurus and Scorpio. So relative to that, it's important to really reflect on this new 12-year cycle of innovation. The last time we had Uranus and Jupiter together like this was actually 12 years ago, around 2010. And this, yes, of course, happened in Pisces, where that represented an expansion, innovation of the peak of our imaginations. Before this dreaded influencer era came and finessed millions of people around the world, before more people ended up getting finessed through the tail end of this influential generation. This is also when Saturn was opposite where it is now, denoting a 17 year transit. So, of course, this is the last time we had this conjunction. It's like every 12 years, give or take, every 13, 14 years, give or take. And why that's significant is whereas we were innovating and expanding portals through which we can express and imagine more and really kind of abstractify what's possible. Now, of course, Uranus and Jupiter have met in Taurus. And now that Jupiter has expanded a full 30 degrees into your second house, the reason why this is significant, especially for progressed Taurus risings and suns, is that this has been expanding your moolah, the idea around what you're worth and the true value that you have. Of course, the more you speak life into that, magically, the more it will impact your self-esteem and you'll make more. And that's the cool thing. You have magic value. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius risings have mutable second houses. So you have magic, you have value, you manifest with magic. Taurus, the word. This is why on multiple occasions with my sun in Gemini, I've been able to write down specific amounts. And with the moon in Cap, I'll say I want it now or at this time, and it happens. And that's at the basic level. I have Gemini, Taurus, that's the basic baby level. So everyone else at higher levels, you do this at more complex, higher levels, like a Scorpio rising with the Sag sun, who when I manifested $20 by writing it down or $40, she manifested $81,000 by lighting a candle. Second house Sagittarius, fire magic. You could see the difference in quality, how she was able to get larger scale, manifesting from a universal sign versus me, an individual one-on-one sign. She got a contract, I got an order, but it's still congruency. Okay. So this is where with Pluto and Aquarius, right? Pennies, which won't really be able to be said anymore. But yeah, check the pennies. Once again, the Pluto in Aquarius is now adding a supernatural quality to the level of awakening. So while Pluto was going into your ninth house, this was having you really transform your philosophy. What's an example of that? As a Taurus rising, when Pluto started to transit my ninth house in Capricorn, I wanted to become a theologian and a Christian apologist. Now that Pluto has come out of Capricorn, my understanding Christianity is night and day now. Like it's completely transformed, and that's what's supposed to happen. For some people, they started off being atheist or not believing Christ. Now they're a full-on Bible thumper or genuine Christian. Like it's not about what you come in or out of. It's just and it happened at Taurus Sun Doreen Virtue. That's because Taurus Suns and risings have been awakening and transforming their philosophy, their religion, their way of life, the ninth house philosophical portal. And why that's significant, through Aries, that's unlocked your original belief of what you feel that makes you. Gemini, from now Pluto going into your 10th house of career, is adding more infamy. It's awakening more intensity into the extraordinary and radical success, albeit unconventional, you can come into. And so now that your second house of communication and value is being activated and expanded, not only are you revisiting how much you have expanded what you're truly worth in just a year, but now the trine to Pluto in the 10th is going to, for the first time, align new money. You're breaking out, like Pluto in the 10th is breaking that glass ceiling, whether you're a male or female. It's your limits as an individual producer and what more you can achieve collectively. We have seen this with prominent. We've seen, that's why I love to use DJ Academics or Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson. These are individuals who worked with mainstream outlets, said fuck a deal, did their own independent journalism, and now do mainstream numbers. That's Pluto in Aquarius breaking through the collective universal reach as an individual. Solid, grounded value. That's why we fucks with Taurus over here. They got it from the mud. They built it from their own self. That's why they are natural royalty. Okay. So that being said, as this begins to revisit what more you are worth, Mercury and the sun that is conjuncting in Gemini put you in a position to realistically come into an epiphany of what you will be communicating moving forward as your price, as the price for your services, for your products, as you experiencing how you are much more wealthy than before. And that's why I use those examples. I'm also going to add Jaguar Right. Every single one of those examples I use are highly controversial. People either extremely hate or love them. These are not just like docile people who say things that people are happy with. These people say things people are pissed off at. And that's Iranian in Taurus controversial element of innovation, of course, things that are outside the box. So I'm not trying to say this to say that they're saints and that they do no wrong. The good, the bad, and ugly is what's necessary. And I'm using them as examples. This is every tour from The Rock to Taurus representatives you've never heard of. You know what I mean? Everyone is channeling that current through their own makeup and bias and prejudices, but it still expresses itself through all of us, as we are a part of the universal body. Some people call it the body of God. Some people call the church the bride of Christ. So whatever you want to call it. I'm not even gonna say it's whatever you want to call it, but whatever you call it, regardless, it's very important to really lock in and shift gears into the fact that the way you're going to be making money, the way you're going to be generating value, the supernatural quality of how your words will manifest instantly is due in part to a decade plus long process of awakening these auto nervous facets within the system of your body physically, and now aligning your mind to this. A lot of concepts, once again, that most will just say is pseudoscientific garbage, but you have your own real experiences to kind of fill in the blanks towards what's actually happening. Because at the end of the day, what you're worth is what you're worth. And the subjective nature of people kind of debating that really falls in the face of true value, which does not change, which is not impacted by market shifts and people's emotions. It's true today, it's true tomorrow. And that's it. And that I think you're going to really enjoy, because you're going to be reminded of how much of the Midas touch you really have. Newsflash, everything you touch, Taurus, turns to fucking gold. Let people argue with their mom about why and how you bring value to things. That's how it's always going to be. And you're Taurissimo now. So the quality with which you're turning things to gold is not only instant, but now things that are touching what you touch also turn to gold. And it's going to really resituate. Now, if you had one room and one bank, now you have 5 banks. It's expanding your finances and the idea of what you're thinking. That's why this is very important. If you are being tricked out of your position to think negatively about what you're worth, that's what you're going to reflect. So make sure that the way you are talking to yourself is not delusional, it's real. Don't necessarily take in projections from other people who are jealous of your value, regardless of what you do that's for or against what they do, and stand on that, because that's what you do the best. You are the solid foundation and grounded fixed structure that people can stand and manifest values with which you stand for something. Cool. So Mars is in Leo, okay, and Venus is in your 12th house. This 12th house action, it represents unconscious and subconscious private expressions that have you moving behind the scenes. And Venus and Saturn and Neptune, that's getting ready to really tour through your 12th, is going to really buckle you down and have you really bring this authoritative transcendence around unconscious habits and blind spots relative to who you identify as, and how it is these unconscious facets of like a hidden identity or facet of yourself really expresses itself through your value. Because the 12th house sextiles Gemini in your 2nd, and it will subsequently square Jupiter in your 3rd to make sure that the EQ, emotional intelligence as defined by us, is going to be expressed through, well, let me not say defined, but it's going to be expressed through by us with a third house water sign. Third house denoting intellect, and then water denoting emotion. Not that there's any tangible, like actual quotient that can measure this, but it will definitely speak towards how earth sign risings are more empathic. They're more receptive to the subtle nuances relative to how people communicate their feelings. Okay. So I mean emotionally and emotional intelligence as far as not being tied down to linear methods of plugging in input and output, but being able to flow and just feel what people aren't saying and whatnot. It's not limited to just these placements, but now the Jupiter the third is getting ready to expand your mindset and the psychic and empathic nature of your attitude, and how that directly clashes with hidden beliefs about yourself that can inhibit what you actually express. Because if you want to share that I'm positive, but you have hidden beliefs that you don't believe in positivity, that's going to conflict. So now as you expand this attitude, you're going to really be brought into more true clarity around any clutter within any outdated beliefs. Chiron is healing, and all that trining Mars in your fourth house is preparing for Virgo in the fifth. That's going to apply the analysis of this creativity towards in your fifth house, unlocking real creativity. So I like to look at the fourth house Leo as the stage, because you're the producer. So you live on stage, you create the foundation of the stage to hire actors and other people to perform there. It's a creative space. Earth sign risings have fire in the water houses. That's the archetype of the person who in public, they're chill, but behind closed doors, they're singing in the shower, right? Everyone does that. Y'all really do that. Okay. You inert and inhibit your passionate function, unlike fire signs that are blazing in passion. All right. So Taurus, when they go home, turns into Leo and they start performing and whatnot. But now Mars here is the private action in the fourth, socially integrated, that has you stand in confidence over this embodiment of worth. Hence the integration of said value socially, creatively. And Pluto opposite Mars is what's challenging you to maintain that courage in the face of public ostracization or support, okay? And not really fold or switch up, all right? To be simple, but to make this really simple, we get money. That's it, period. And this is going to structure the mindset, ideas, whether through promotional or marketing ideas, that will get you paid from now till December. It's activating now. By September, we will begin to integrate how creatively you can manifest. And then by Sagittarius, you're investing and allocating what you've made. You're seeing how it's harvesting and breaking through. So plant those seeds very powerfully as necessary. And yeah, keep your mind on what you're worth. Okay. And open yourself up to ideas to add and expand to that, especially once we come out of Gemini season and after, you know, the first quarter square and Mercury reaches the sun, you're going to start to process information ahead of how much more specifically you're seeing, oh wow, an increase of your ability to make money. All right. Hit up that ultimate manifestation playlist. And I'm saying money, but really value. It doesn't have to really be money, but you know, second house is your own finances. So whatever you truly find valuable. In this case, second house Gemini finds intellect valuable, working smart. So like, you know, this is going to really help you with Uranus coming here, automate income, just set up systems that you can literally set and forget because you worked smart. Virgo. That's how I'm going to start saying Virgo. Virgo. Okay. Virgo. I'm sorry. That was atrocious. Virgo, you know, especially if you're a Virgo rising, progress, sun, moon. Virgo, this looking good. I'm not going to lie. I can't. Yes, I if you see me on Instagram, I'm on YouTube as well. All right. And shout out to Angelica Perlman. Shout out to Perlman. Shout out to all of you. Adina, how you doing? I've rescheduled the solar return to tomorrow, so I'm gonna get that for you ASAP tomorrow morning. All right, Virgo, this is actually really exciting. And I've been hinting at it a lot. But like the reason why the next 3 years are very exciting for you is because you're in your completion phase. You've finished activating evolution. You've finished integrating evolution from like 2019 to 2022. You finished harvesting evolution from 2022 to 2025. Now you are completing it. Why is this important? The way you should be looking at is, what are my rewards? Your focus is on your accomplishments and your rewards. Since 2016, you've been going in. Since 2016, and then we can even bring back 2008 when Saturn was in Virgo, and then we can even go back to like 2002. The last time Jupiter may have been around Virgo, I think in that period, 2016 most specifically, right? The progression, the MC is the midheaven. That's your 10th house. The progress chart is where your chart is now. Every year that you grow another year on your birthday, your sun moves a degree, your moon moves a degree every month. So I was born Gemini, but my progressed sun is in Cancer now. And a lot of people don't know about it. And it's more accurate than your natal chart. And yeah, if you want a progress chart reading, you could order a reading from me. I got 70% off. I highly recommend it. I'm still 5 stars. 100% of people who get readings from me are very satisfied because I really do this. That being said, Virgo, no one is realer than you. And you really, you show people you really do this. You are the real social dynamics. Unlike a DJ Academics or Taurus, who is individual, they have their own place. Virgo, you outside with it. You're social. You like conversations with people. I like to show people that distinction. I'm biased towards Taurus. I don't think one is better than the other. I'm not really socially experienced. I have no Virgo on my chart, but it's needed most definitely to at least understand real dynamics of how stuff works outside of theory. Kiko, go to my website, thepeacedealer.com. You will see my prices. It's 70% off everything, and the discount is applied automatically when you put it in the cart. Thepeacedealer.com. Go to the reports or consultations. You'll see all the prices. That being said, Virgo, the reason why this is very important is this Gemini placement, Mercury, Sun, subsequently Uranus and Jupiter in your 10th house is success. I've been geeking off Leo because Leo had Uranus there, but now you're getting ready to have Jupiter go through there. And why is this important? Ever since last year, Jupiter has expanded the truth around what success is for you. Why? What does that look like? Last year, maybe you thought, you know what? I'm going to accomplish making $100,000 a year. Jupiter went through your 10th house, laughed at you, and said, a little 100,000. Are you trying to make 10 million a year? You trying to make $1 million a year? And it actively showed you that it's very possible that it's not just an idea. You have quintessentially leveled up your legacy. You have leveled up and evolved your career. Virgo is the critic. That's why they're social. We need criticism in order through analysis, whereas Pisces is metaphysical belief. I believe in you. Virgo is the opposite. You can do better, period. Okay, so why is that significant? As the social critic, your legacy is individual. You need to get your voice out there. Joe Budden, perfect example. He is a social personality, but his brand is on his own name. It's not the Joe Budden and Friends podcast. It's the Joe Budden podcast. You're getting his message out there, individual broadcasting, because we need to hear the truth of your critical analysis, amongst other things. But now since 2016, where you started Jupiter and Virgo, you've gone around and now you are evolving the accomplishment, defining what the accomplishment is. Jupiter is going to go into Cancer July of this year to July of next year. You are actively feeling and coming into rewards. That's why this year and the rest of next year is really good for you, because it's not about what do I do to be successful? What more work I have to do? It's all about coming into the rewards you've worked hard for, expanding what social circle of friends achieves these rewards with you, who was shooting with you in the gym. And then Jupiter and Leo is going to release that cycle and prepare you for another cycle, 2028. Like your lineup, Virgo, is nice. And that required a lot of shitty years, helping other people who honestly didn't really deserve it. I'm going to be honest with you. You're too kind. And now it's like the universe is paying you back because it was still work that had to be done. Okay. That being said, and I will always put the stereotype, Virgo is the one cleaning up other people's mess because everyone else is incompetent. And Capricorn is too busy employing other people. Okay. Virgo is the one that has to fix it because no one else really knows what they're doing relative to actually real stuff, myself included. I'm not a Virgo. I don't have Virgo on my chart. But like that being said, you know what I mean? It's important for you to understand that this Gemini season since last year that actually started the process of evolving, now you're coming back around to see, oh, I leveled this up. Oh, I'm leveling it. That's all this Gemini season is. It's you coming to a realization that you are the master of motherfucking consciousness and you don't fucking miss, and you did it again. You did it again. Why is this important? Jupiter is expanding what you can achieve. So your 10th house in Gemini is your true achievements. Second house Gemini is true value for Taurus. 10th house Gemini for Virgo is true achievement, true legacy. Okay. So this is Taurus's second stage activation. Virgo, this is your first stage of completion. Second stage is going to be the new wave when we go into Cancer season. And so 10th house Gemini is what you're achieving. Jupiter went through there. It has now expanded what more is possible for you to achieve. So it's like, let's say I had a podcast space, and now, of course, with Jupiter going through there, I've expanded my facility. I have like 5 extra rooms. So now what more I can realistically achieve, of course, is it's been actively expanded. Why is this important? Uranus is going to go through Gemini starting next year. So now that you've expanded this space, you're replacing it with updated technology. The quality with which you're going to now hyper accelerate this instant success over the rest of the decade, it's almost going to be like everything you did up until this point was to automate a lot of the work, because moving forward, a lot of stuff you're just going to set and forget. And of course, we know a lot of this automation may come through advancements in artificial intelligence and automation services, right? And that's just one example. But whether you use AI or not, you need to get really fucking excited, because Uranus going through your 10th house is one of the best things that's going to happen to you. It's also going to be unadulterated craziness that's going to stress you out and trigger more over analysis and overthinking with you than possible. But I don't think you'll care, because you'll also be making more money than possible. You'll be coming in an unexpected success that you could never see coming, and you built the foundation for it. So it's not just coming out of nowhere. You have harvested Saturn coming out of Pisces. Like your ops tried to kill you. They try to cancel Sneeko. They try to come for some Virgos. Y'all move really well, though. So, like, it's hard to really catch y'all sleeping. But now they're coming for Libra. Now DDG is in the news. And Saturn is in Aries, his op. So I'm showing you how this consistent, this can be tested. This is consistent. It's measurable. It's in every way science. That being said, now that it's coming into Aries, the whole purpose of it going through Pisces was for you to let people know, I've raised my standards in partnerships. I'm holding you accountable. 2008, I was held accountable. Virgo, I was held accountable. Saturn was in Virgo. You were held accountable. And now every way you were held accountable since 2008, you're holding other people accountable. And you're finding a lot of people are miserable, sad sacks of shit that lie to themselves and think that they can lie to you, not on your watch. And so you went hard. And what did that do? It pissed people off. And a lot of people tried to cancel you because you spit the facts. And you did not enable the delusions that make them feel good. You asshole. How dare you tell people that's factually based in reality that dispels the lies that they tell themselves? Clearly, you have no compassion and you have low emotional intelligence, and that's horrible. How dare you tell people facts and show people receipts that are grounded in reality? And that's really your problem, Virgo. You always have to keep it real. Anyway, now that you've let people know that you're not playing and you really will murk somebody in the name of spitting these facts, now Saturn is going into Aries to apply this perspective. And it's so, the last 2 years was so very important because it consisted of people trying you and you had to draw back. You're getting ready to draw boundaries. So now Saturn's going to go into Aries and you're enforcing these boundaries. So how you believe You're meant to hold space with us. This is where, if you're a Virgo rising, this prepares you for marriage. This facilitates divorce. This prepares you for business partnerships, because now there's serious gravity around who you partner with. You're being tested karmically on how much integrity you have in these partnerships and how much you allow people to not show you integrity. If you showed people integrity the past 2 years and you allowed people to not show you integrity, you failed. You failed that transit. You embody kindness. So you don't get any extra points for treating people right. Did you allow people to treat you like shit? That means you did not teach people how to respect you. And that's why, Virgo, you might have to slap a lot of people in the face. I don't take this attitude to a lot of people. I don't be telling Sagittarius to smack people in the face because they're terrorists and they're terrifying and they really need to chill. Virgo, you too kind. You really let people take your kindness for weakness and then complain that people take your kindness for weakness. And then you look down on Aries for being savage and always wanting to throw hands. Well, maybe if you slapped a lot of motherfuckers in the face, they respect you more. And so you're going to think seriously about slapping the shit out of people on site and on command. And that may not be your style. Some Virgos, that is your style, but that may not be your style. And I'm really not joking. You have class. You have Libra in your second house. That is a social quality of balance, polishness, and class. And it's holding you back because the South Node is in Virgo. You're supposed to really share class to people who are also classy, not people who don't give a fuck about that, because now they're going to take you for like you weak, like you not a master for real. So you're actually real time looking at how social sensibilities are being taken advantage of to take advantage of you. And like, I'm not saying you have to be violent, but you are one of the people who could get away with outright assault and battery because you're that intelligent. And maybe you could just slap the shit out of someone with your aura. Maybe that's all that's needed. Y'all are quick with the facts. You could just say 2 things to remind people, but sometimes that's not enough. Reason and logic is not enough. So Virgo, when reason and logic is not enough, sometimes physical violence might be the answer. Now, I'm not saying violence is the answer. I'm not saying violence is the answer, but I'm saying violence will answer a lot of issues for you. And you'll know how and when to use this. Why am I saying violence? Because now that Saturn and Neptune are in your 8th, the boundary between what your line is that people shouldn't cross is now muddied. It's dissolved. And people are going to pretend like they don't know they're crossing that. And you told them 50,000 times, hey, I don't like when you do this. When you smack earth, wind, and fire out of them, they will catch the Holy Ghost and they will suddenly be like, Virgo, thank you for slapping the shit out of me. I knew I shouldn't have done that. You're one of the only people get away with that right now. All right. Because the way you move is on point. That doesn't mean you may not get in some trouble, but you're doing it for a good cause. That being said, I really want to focus on Gemini because now relative to last September, you are becoming aware of the completion of this process, compounded with how much you've expanded this growth. And I think it's going to be very fulfilling. While it is also a checkpoint to the eclipse we had in your 7th house, North Node in Pisces, which is quite literally unlocking relationships, marriages, agreements, and partnerships you're destined to step into and create. This with the South Node in your sign is using your own kindness, your own mastery as a resource to set delusional ass motherfuckers, to believe in the right people and bring out their potential, because they're totally not dumb and they totally don't need you to think for them, because if they don't, they're not going to know what the fuck they do. I'm sorry, because you are totally a great guide to help people think rationally and logically about things and not just make shit the fuck up because it's convenient for them. Okay. That being said, now that from March to June, you have unlocked everything that you believe you're meant to be to facilitate these partnerships. Now Gemini is that seed you sowed breaking through the ground. And from June to September, you're going to be integrating this eclipse lesson by completing what you held space with others, and how what success comes through that by September will completely change the way you analyze how you relate with others. So it's like in March, you're seeing the issues arise. You're like, wow, these people really think I'm weak. That's crazy. I've only been on point my whole life. All right, well, maybe I believe I should start stepping on these motherfuckers. Maybe I should start going a little harder on these people. And then, of course, you're doing that for 3 months. Aries season come through. You apply this belief. You start smacking motherfuckers. Taurus, you start to really strengthen your values of, wow, I'm getting a little taken serious. Gemini, you start to see it change. Now people are looking at you different because now they didn't know you were going to slap the shit out of them because they lied to you knowing that they lied to you. Now, by the time we come back to Virgo, you're analyzing how you went hard all 6 months. And it's like, oh, wow, see what I believed I could achieve. I'm analyzing how I have become that. So this is a huge year for you, especially if you're Virgo rising, especially if you're Generation X, or especially if you were born in the boomer generation. I don't know if boomer is derogatory. I don't know if there's a better name for that, but if you're born in the 60s, this is also very important. If you have Uranus, Pluto, and Virgo, like all those placements, very, 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 very significant. And thank you guys so much for the support. I love doing this. This is so much fun. So that being said, I really just want to focus on that. Of course, Mars in your 12th house and Venus in your 8th is just going to really spice up in a passionate way who you're trusting. Thank you, the musical Mystic Tarot. Who you're actually connecting with, who you're in a position to realistically trust, especially with certain more instinctual qualities with what you have and how you're polishing, who you're connecting with, who you're healing. Chiron in the 8th is very painful because betrayal and distrust is going to sting. It's going to hurt very harshly, but it's also going to heal really good too when you're able to really connect with people who you can trust. So it works reflexively like that. But Mars in the 12th house could have you feel lethargic. It's having you take passionate action behind the scenes. And once it goes through your sign in Virgo, boom, we're ready to move forward and go again while you're really stirring up this unconscious, just unseen element of just anger. So if any of you are feeling these unconscious anger issues, it's the god of war in the house of your unconscious, just instigating. While Pluto in your 6th is awakening a supernatural quality of your behavioral patterns and your lifestyle, all of which from the 6th to the 10th will awaken that supernatural quality to induce supernatural true success and true achievements. Beautiful. All right, last but not least, the goat, Capricorn. All right, so listen, this is actually cool because the major thing for you, Capricorn, is that you get married, or at least, Jupiter is going into your 7th house. So this is actively expanding and evolving all your relationships with people. And it's important to look at the process from 2020 to 2025, because 2020 was when Jupiter was in your sign. Okay, it was in Capricorn. You had Saturn, you had the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And Capricorn, that's sus. You sponsored the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Like, you're not beating certain allegations. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, that looks very Illuminati to me. So, like, if the Illuminati had a meaning, it had it in your side. I'm just be honest. I'm not gonna say I believe in the Illuminati, but I'm just gonna say, it is what it is. It's a little sus. You had the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, 2020, March 21st, in your sign. And then after they met in your sign, shit got locked down. A pandemic mysteriously took over the world. Like Capricorn, we still never talked about it. But regardless, Jupiter evolved the universal power that you represent. Aries is individual raw power. That's it. Raw, right? It's physical. It's yang, right? Capricorn is yang, but we'll talk about that. Aries is physical raw power. Cancer is emotional psychic power. It's not tangible. It's through the function of feeling that integrates our raw power. Libra is intellectual social power. It's a superpower. It's acuity. It's the power of jumping. The ability for me to convince 10 people who I just meant to jump you is a superpower. It requires intelligence. It requires being able to have social skills to connect and bridge people. Okay, then Capricorn is a universal power. This is the power of a Congress that represents 304 million Americans plus, right? It's decisive power. Okay, that's why we call it God power. So Jupiter evolved this universal power you embody, because this is God elite level. Sun, moon, rising, progressed. All right. And for the Capricorn risings, especially, and the Capricorn suns, since 2020, 2021, Jupiter went into Aquarius. And when Jupiter went into Aquarius, you now began to expand, just like Taurus is manifesting their individual true value. Well, come 2021, this was when, of course, Aquarius was manifesting your universal value. So Taurus and Gemini is individual. Capricorn and Aquarius is universal. Okay. And as Jupiter, of course, oh, okay, no wonder. Through 2020 was going through Aquarius, you now took the universal power and manifested the expansion of knowledge, universal collective knowledge and value to your second house. And then, of course, Jupiter went through Pisces and it expanded the quality of imagination, the nature of your own imagination that facilitates this facet of the power you activated. Activation for you was 2020, 2021, 2022. Cap, Aqua, Pisces. This now brings us to Jupiter Aries, where now you begin to integrate what you originally evolved 2020, and now the integrity. And this is why I love using Capricorn as an example for this. Capricorn having the fourth house in Aries means that they embody integrity, and the foundation of integrity is authenticity. If you think about it, if you have an authentic foundation, then I can express sincerely through Cancer because I'm authentic in how I stand. And that allows me to be the face of integrity, right? So this is where Aries is a bit hidden. It's savage. It's raw. The example I like to use of this is the CEO of a company. Hi, guys. Hey, it's come to our attention that some of our employees were very rude, and we have took appropriate action to handle this. Okay. And moving forward, we know that we will accept and tolerate. No, you know that corporate bullshit. Once the cameras are off, that Capricorn is fourth house Aries. I told that bitch she shouldn't fucking do that. What's that? She's cost me $50,000. Fire that bitch now. Fire that bitch now. That's every Capricorn. Are the cameras on? All right. Yes. So as you can see, we don't tolerate behavior. Do you see how Capricorn is collective? You cannot be your own individual self because you're representing multiple people. It's brand image now. We have to fire you if we make our brand look bad because it's no longer versus Aries. That's just individual. I can do what I want. I can be what I want. That's how to make sense of that. So Capricorn has an individual foundation, meaning that they turn into Aries when they go home. So don't be fooled by earth signs looking all proper and whatnot. No, they could be savage too. And the reason that it's important is now Aries represented this evolution of authenticity that integrates the integrity and power you began to activate moving forward. All right. And that, of course, led the way for Taurus. Once we have aligned your authenticity with integrity, now we expanded, of course, the natural value innovated with Uranus that you could take this universal power and fully manifest. This is spending power. This is the quality of the dollar. This is the power of money. This is the value of money. Okay. This is the spending power. This is what you buy with it. That's why Capricorn loves Taurus. They love spending fucking money. That being said, all right, and Taurus loves having money. Capricorn loves spending it. And now why that's very important is because now that we have created and activated and begun to integrate, that's what brings us to now Jupiter and Gemini. This is the final point of integration before you begin to harvest in Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. So 6 years worth of evolution, evolving your identity, your value, your attitude, your foundation and comfort zone, your creativity, and now the thoughts that constitute your behavioral patterns. Jupiter is tying together the enlightened nature of your behavior and your lifestyle, putting you in a position to now not only evolve what more, because Gemini answers the question, what more you can achieve day to day, but now it's integrating everything you've evolved, because what the sixth house does before it opposes your seventh house is that it takes all of these qualities and now we integrate this tying in of your behavior, of your attitude, of your creativity, of your value into your relationships when Jupiter now goes into Cancer. So this is going to mark harvest since 2020. And that's what you wanted to feel like. You're not just, unlike Cancer rising that's activating a new cycle, Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun, you're harvesting evolution. We talked about how Virgo is completing the evolution. Before completion is harvest. So now you are applying how you have evolved, everything from your personality to behavior. And now you're going to apply this evolved behavior towards your relationships. And that's why this year and this season is all about your habits. You're going to be aware of how your day-to-day routine and habits and behavioral patterns have significantly evolved. And when Uranus goes through this over the rest of the decade, it's going to automate how you live your life. It's going to automate your lifestyle. It's going to innovate your lifestyle. The rest of the decade is going to have you live a very unconventional life, because most stuff that took you hours to do, you're doing it in less than 30 minutes, freeing up more time, allowing you to develop and connect more with people you want to connect with. Because if I evolve my habits, if I am in a relationship with somebody, and that consists of me going to work, going home, going to work, going out with my partner, going home, and then I level up my routine. Now I'm not just going to work. I'm going to work. I'm going to my studio. I'm going to this bar that I host in. Like, I'm adding elements. I'm working out. I'm not smoking anymore. Now, when we go into the relationship house, I'm bringing this change of my behavior with me. And now, how does this shifting of my behavior impact those relationships? That's what Jupiter in the seventh is going to be. And this is where Uranus and Saturn authorizing your integrity allows your work to speak for itself. So people can call you a fraud. People can call you a scammer. They won't put it on their life. They won't put money on it because they will lose that money. And they don't really know what they're talking about outside of their preconceived biases, prejudices, and jealousy, because they are what we call weak little bitches, or alternatively, stupid little bitches. All right. So this is where the integrity and the innovation of both your attitude and your behavior are going to pay off. Jupiter is going to go into the seventh for Capricorns, coming into around June. It's going to conjunct the sun June 28th, but it's actually going to enter middle of Gemini season, actually. So I think like June 7th, give or take, if we go like a week from now. Yeah. Like June 7th is when it's officially going to enter, and celebrate yourself. Like, that's a huge accomplishment, especially now that it's going to square Saturn and Neptune in your fourth. Mercury is going to wrap your mind's processing around this expansion to prepare you for what you'll be aware as now holding down this, of course, nature of power and authenticity. Now that you've expanded with Jupiter and unlocked this authentic foundation, Saturn's going to test you on it. For Cap risings, it's really good for real estate, working from home, autonomy, becoming the matriarch, the patriarch. But now this integrity of home life and foundation will influence how you expand your partnerships. Because as you expand what you feel, you might feel really good about doing stuff with people, but what they do is not in integrity with your home life and foundation. So you're going to limit that. Or maybe you have, you have an integrity and foundation, but it's limiting how well you can expand sincerely with others. That's going to be the major challenge for you. And in an angular house, it's going to change your life. This is actually really good. It's setting you up for lifelong partnerships and to already kind of edit or review existing ones. Okay. But the focus here with Gemini, I know we have Mars is in your 8th and then Venus is in your 4th, polishing this home space with Chiron, and Mars having you deal with others in a way that reflects your awakened supernatural quality of value and your supernatural ability to manifest with Pluto in Aquarius. But of course, Gemini is going to take this awakened quality of your value in your 2nd house, and it's going to connect it to your lifestyle. So now that you're manifesting at a supernatural quality, now that you're awakening to the supernatural quality of your value, how are you aware and how is your brain processing that you are integrating that into your lifestyle? This is going to be that enlightenment chapter that's not only going to spell this out for you and have you communicate this, but it's going to prepare you for Cancer season, where you will effectively integrate now what that feels like and how you apply this mindset in your feelings with moving forward with other people. Last thing I'm going to say is, like I've been saying with the cardinal signs, Capricorn, you're at the elite level. So Pisces with the North Node and Saturn that was there throughout the past 2 years was the reality warping software initialization or hardware. It was really a hardware initialization. And this was you imagining real time what it is you want to experience, experiencing it, changing real time. This is that elite God level. And then Virgo in the 9th house is the analytical, critical breakdown of the causality. Yes. And this is sci-fi and fantasy, according to materials reduction of science. The causality between what you imagined and what's actually happening. Over the past 2 years, you've been able to analyze and bring to a science, whether consciously or unconsciously, what you imagine and believe and what actually happens. This is a power a lot of people don't know you do on a daily. And since 2012 has been awakening at a higher quality. So now that the North Node is in Pisces, everything you believed you can shape into the attitudes that form your belief systems, or really the belief systems that form your mindset, is going to now crystallize in September as you analyzing how you turned that mindset into a lifestyle and how that lifestyle translated into a tangible way of life, taking fantastical concepts that you believe and making them real and showing people the receipts. That's you this September. So Gemini is the checkpoint in between then. March was where you activated this mindset. Gemini is now you bringing that concept into truth so that you can communicate and think how you turn a mindset into a behavior. And then from June to September, you're going to turn that behavior and lifestyle into a philosophy and a way of life. This was a beautiful stream. Earth is just so ordered, structured. So I feel like that reflected the nature of this reading. Short, straight, to the point. You guys stay blessed as always. I'm going to resume tomorrow with the Air Tribe. As always, I'm 70% off of all readings and reports. Okay. The reports are like $15, $60 if you get the 30 or the 15-minute. The consultations are like $125 or $75 if you get the 30 to an hour. So show me some love, man. Support me. Help me. I need to buy new shoes. Don't worry about that. But that being said, in fact, Carrie, thanks for, I'm still rocking those new kicks. I don't wear them all the time because I don't want to get dirty, but they come in handy and I appreciate you. You guys stay blessed as always. Love you lots. And until next time.